This is the 2024 Ducati Streetfighter V4S. Bologna's 5 formula to pay the street rent. In simpler terms, this is the Panigale V4S without its fairing. So you get the same race-spec artillery on the naked. Top shelf semi-active all-in suspension, latest iteration of the Ducati's electronic suite. Braking might of the Brembo Stylema calipers and the massive 330mm rotors up front. You get the forged Marchesini rims, biplane winglets, the aluminium front frame like on the V4. And of course the same engine. 1103cc SMOCDC Stradale motor to pump out a staggering 208 horses and the 123 Nm of the torque. Instead of the low clip-ons, you get a more upright bar and the lowered pegs to hang on for dear life, as you light the fuse of this 199 kg monster.
I never been put down this much power on these roads before, and never been so scared and felt alive at the same time.
I never seen this Rosso Corsa 2 tires really struggling this much for a grip. This is savagery redefined. Because unlike the Panigale V4, this one is running the internal gear ratios and a shorter final drag from the Ducati's World Superbike weapon, the Panigale V4R. And in this state of tune, this engine puts out 86 Nm of the torque from just 4000 RPM.
The emulation which had led the Ducati to increase the already long Panigale wheelbase by an additional 19mm on the Streetfighter. If you think I am exaggerating, I dare you to switch off the wheelie control and brace yourself for absolute mayhem.
Because only then you realize how much the electronics are at the work to keep the front end down, and despite the counter rotating crank and the downforce of the winglet. Accessing all of this firepower is also when you really appreciate the refinement of this amazing engine. The immaculate fueling, how buttery smooth the quick shifter is both up and down, and you are equally astounded and thankful for the fears. Braking performance that the Streetfighter brings to the table to harness all this firepower. It won't be a Ducati, much less a stripped down Panigale if it did not handle well, and the Streetfighter blazes through corners as much as it decimates the straights. Of course, it loses out some of the agilities of the Panigale with its 1488mm wheelbase, but then with the counter-rotating crank and the Marchesini forged rims and the wider handlebars, which give you almost 100mm of more leverage compared to the clip-ons of the Panigale. All of these things make it easier to turn the Streetfighter from one side to another. I really like how you can switch to the fixed damping mode on the semi-active all-in suspension when you are attacking the corners. And then of course, resort to the nice plush ride quality in the dynamic mode when you are going back home. Also in terms of the ergonomics, it offers you the best of the both worlds. It's sporty enough to have a blast in corners and comfortable to cruise on. In fact, I'm really impressed with how comfortable the seat is. We are told there's a 60mm of foam down there and it works. Also in terms of the heat management, I was pleasantly surprised because the Streetfighter did better than I anticipated, considering that this is the same high compression engine from the Panigale V4. Now don't get me wrong, it does heat up, but then you have these two big radiator fans which keep the heat in check in the stop-go traffic. And also like the multi V4, the rear two cylinders deactivate at the idle to reduce the heat when you are stopped at a signal. But as much as the Ducati have tried to civilize the Streetfighter, this race weapon, that also means the ground clearance now is at a paltry 121mm, which forces you to exercise extreme caution on bad roads and tall speed breakers. Now, these are the things which most of the enthusiasts would be normally willing to accept, looking at the exhilarating performance that the Streetfighter V4S brings to the table.